So far my Starlink has been working. It didn't screw up. I was playing some music earlier for James, and it was playing it like really slow. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal with that was. It was like
it was buffering slow, or it was.
Yeah, it was like it just.
Let's try it real quick.
Really bad. It play
whenever I start, I play some music. Jason, remember when you came in that one time? I was there. I want to see if it plays. Oh. Did you hear that? Is it doing it again?
Yeah.
It's not. It's like skipping. Is it skipping for you guys?
That's better than what.
I'll stop now. Is it skipping for you guys?
His buddy's warm up music. He's got to get prepped before he can do a podcast. Like the intros, like professional wrestlers' intro songs.
That's why
you show up.
The hype man.
Yeah, you show up and you just got that music playing in the background. I just got my eyes closed and I'm like, trying to figure out how I'm going to talk, which I don't really want to talk too much. I'm like, here we go again. I got to go. I've been trying to avoid the podcast, Jason. I don't know if you've noticed.
You've done a pretty good job of it.
Some days I wake up. Some days I wake up. I'm like, I should do a little more for Jason. Other days I'm like, no, I'm going to go gone. I'm going to stay away. Like, hey, Jason's doing great.
You know what I appreciate is there was that day not long ago. I'm like, dude, I'm doing all I got right now. I need some help. And buddy, like right to it. You know, when he realizes I'm like struggling, at least you show up in my time of need.
So that was the whole idea with when we train new employees, James. I tell people, and I'm honest with new employees. I'm like, here's the deal. You're going to drown. You're almost going to drown. We're not going to let you drown, but you're going to go under a couple times.
You're bobbing.
You know what I mean? Like we're going to watch you fail. And just about time you drop down, then I'll reach over and pull you out, get you a good breath of air for a minute. They'll let you go again and be like, keep swimming.
It's like that rat experiment. What'd you say? They'll die in 5 minutes unless you dry them off and talk nice to them.
Yeah, there was a.
What's the newest guy's name? Alex?
Yeah, Alex.
The newest guy. I called the other day and he answered and he's, is there anything I can help you with? I'm like, yeah, I just need to talk to Buddy. And of course it's the usual, like, well, he's not available right now. What's this about? Like, 100 questions. I'm thinking, great, here we go. Like somebody else there, I'm going to have to like get pissed in order to get across the phone. And, luckily, I'm like, if you don't transfer it, I'm just going to call a cell phone. Oh, okay. No, he's right here. And I think Buddy had heard him say my name, and he transferred it over. But that's like every new employee when I call, it's like the brick wall you got to get around.
Firewall, man.
I really know him.
He's added steps to that firewall over the years.
Yeah.
See, I know when James calls, it's like, hey, James, let me get Buddy for you.
Yeah. No, there's like you were talking about that study where it's like they had a rat and they put rat in the water to swim and it would die in like 5 minutes, right? And so if you let it in the bucket of water or whatever, they die. It's like 5 minutes they'd swim for and they'd die. And then they had another group of rats where they pulled them out just about the time they go under, just about the time they're about to drown. You take them out of the bucket, you dry them off, you get them warm, you pet them, whatever, you feed them, and then you stick them back in the bucket. And them sons of bitches lived for they swam for 24 hours. I don't know how long it was, but because they thought they was going to get another pet. They thought they'd get saved. So they would, the hope of hanging out long enough to get, to make it to the next savior. They never got saved. I mean, they was like, nope, 23, 24, you're going to die. You might as well just give up. So,
thanks for plucking me from the bucket every so often.
We joke. That's why my joke is like, okay, here, W, like you're almost gonna drown, and then we're gonna pluck you out of the water. We're gonna dry you off for a minute, and we'll be like, okay, go to the next one. You can go a little further next time.
And then I'm leaving for Canada. No,
it's time to go hunting. You're on your own. I'm gonna go.
Oh no, it was greatly appreciated.
Yeah, just dry Jason off, fluff him up a little bit, let him get a little breath of air, and be like, all right, see you later.
Yeah, it works. It's been working for quite a while.
You've been doing good. You've been getting some. So, anyways,
It's been fun. It is fun, but it is nice to get you on when you can, especially when you get with one of your buddies like James here.
Yeah.
It's like the real, I don't know, the buddy I get to see. Not everybody always gets to see, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's a celebrity now. You know that, James, right?
He has been for a while.
That's what I hear.
I got nothing.
We can hear you turning red.
Damn it.
That's why he started the intro.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we got a topic.
Yeah, we got a topic. You want me to just cut the crap?
Yeah. Like,
so I feel like I don't want to call this like the
your vacation next week is declined.
Oh, don't do that to me. I'm coming in on Monday, man.
I know.
I feel like this is a Mythbusters segment because inevitably on the phone with this many houndsmen, you hear a ton of opinions, right? Plus, if you don't get enough there,
they're not opinions. They're facts. If they're coming from houndsmen, it's not an opinion. That is how it is.
But
we need to have like a fact checker, like a Facebook fact checker, but it'd be like the houndsman fact checker.
We could have fun with that.
Yeah,
that could be fun. Submit your questions. What's that? Change my mind.
Yeah.
But a lot of these topics that just keep coming up with people, and I've heard this one over a lot of years, is like tone training dogs. Because I do not leash dogs. I mean, unless you're in a weird situation, normal day to day, I don't leash dogs because I hate being drug around trees and all that. But I've heard the argument, like toning dogs off of a tree, you're going to break the tree in them. Or same with a track, if you've got a dog that's running and it's time to go and you want to get them off that track, like you shouldn't call them off because it's going to kill their drive. And I'm curious what your guys' opinion is because I have mine, but.
Well, let's hear yours first.
Well, mine is like, obviously I would not want to do certain things with a young dog, like call them off a track if I absolutely could avoid it. Mm-hmm. Or even at the tree, like, you work them a little bit and you pull them away. But with older dogs, I don't really feel that doing that is changing the drive. It's just reinforcing, like, hey, what I'm saying is the most important. I override your natural instinct because I'm in charge. Yeah. So when I'm ready to go,
it's time to go.
I'm trying to do my part, but it's time to go. I got to work at some point. So here's the tone button and a hoot and a holler, and you better come into the pickup and we're going to go home and go get some sleep. And I don't feel that that's hurt them as far as, their desire to catch game one bit.
Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you. For a lot of years, for a real long time, I did the leash thing, and you didn't have the option, I guess, to tone. I mean, that didn't exist. You had telemetry collars, and that was all you had. And I did drag a lot of dogs off trees for a really long time, and that's about the most pissed off you can get a person when you're walking back out of the woods with 4 or 5 dogs on leashes in front of you, and they're all
different ways.
And then you trip and they drag you for a while, and.
Yeah, like the whole thing is just, that takes the fun right out of it. And I now, that we have the abilities that we have with those training collars, I don't care. I mean, the only time I leash a dog is if I have a client and we're going to shoot a cat. I mean, even if I'm on a depredation, if I'm the one shooting the cat, I really don't leash dogs back. If I have somebody I don't know there, then obviously, yeah. But I hate a dog on a leash. I hate having to do it. And it's almost to the point that it's probably bad because if you did have to put the dog on the leash, it would probably be a fight from hell. I mean, because, none of them have ever been on a leash.
I hate chasing the dog around a tree. That's my hard part. It's like, come here, chasing dogs around a tree trying to get. They learn. They're like, no, I can get. They don't want to get leashed up. That's the one downside is like, They'll work around. It's like a squirrel. You ever seen that like bobcat with a squirrel?
Yeah, where it's going around the ground.
Yeah, where the squirrel's like on the wrong side of the bobcat. That's what I feel like with my dog sometimes when I'm trying to catch him to put him on a leash.
Yeah, so I'm in the same lane that you are on that, Jason, to where I always stick to the same phrase when I say we're done,
Mm-hmm.
and start hitting tone and start walking away. And if they don't start walking away, I mean, I'll go as far as shocking a dog off that tree if it's time to go. And that's something that a lot of people might think is crazy, but I have never once told a dog we're done and shocked it off a tree and not had that dog go right back to tree in the very next time it had the opportunity.
Yeah.
You could basically make it tree right there. Like, honestly, it would be confusing. I don't recommend it, but I could call them off the tree for 10, 15 yards or whatever, and then be like, guys, and go right back to that tree. And they'd go right back to hammering the tree, I think.
Yeah.
I don't encourage that because that'd be confusing. The only thing I'd add is I think it's important that the dog needs to know what the command is. You know what I mean? I wouldn't take a young dog and do that with until the dog knows. I mean, the dog needs to have a good handle.
Definitely.
Yeah. But with that said, if you got a bunch of old dogs there that do it, that young dog is going to know all those other dogs pulled off, and it's going to go, oh, okay. It's going to know what to do. You know what I mean? So use those older dogs. Getting the first couple ones is the hard part. Once you establish that, then you work on the next dog, and then you have the whole pack that basically they teach the young dogs at some point.
Yeah, you never really have to teach per se a dog again.
Monkey
I don't feel like at that point.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So in the beginning, yeah, I can see where it's like, okay, maybe a little daunting for somebody to start there. You know what I mean? If you haven't, I look at it and go, man, I've been doing it for years, so I can throw a young dog in there. And every one of my dogs will do that. And the young dog just like, oh, I guess that means
we're done.
We're going that way. You know what I mean? And they just learn. But I could see where if you had a pack of dogs that weren't hunted that way, boy, there's going to be, you want to talk about being screaming and confusing. And so I would really encourage you to, and use maybe a leash or whatever to teach them. That's what that means. You know what I mean? Like, start with a command or whatever that's like, hey, grab the leash and pull them away saying your words. Let's go. As mine, I said, let's go. That's how I tell my dogs go. If it's we're done or whatever, and you pull the dogs with the leash, and then you get 10, 20 yards away and you unleash them and walk out. And eventually you won't need the leash to pull them out. But, I think it's important to get the command, and they just need to know what you're wanting. If they know what you want to do, then that e-collar is really helpful to reinforce that.
Yeah. I think as long as, that doesn't happen without having a good handle, or you're going to send extremely mixed signals. When you're giving the command, let's go, or mine's here or whatever, they know that command outside of the hunting environment because you use it every day with them. Where dogs maybe don't have as good of a handle, you shock them off of a tree because they're not listening to come. I could see that effect in that situation because they're missing the point. Like, it's not that you're doing this wrong; you're just not listening to me and prioritizing it. Like, I could see both sides. Yeah.
I think that it comes down to the basics, like what Ross and Jared always talk about is like they want that baseline to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what we're tapping into in that tree, which is we're all tapping into the baseline of come here means come here. That means you come with me. Like, we're going this way, leave the tree. And if you don't have the come here down, it's going to be really hard to establish that at a tree.
Well, here means here, whether we're in a parking lot, we're in the backyard, we're under a tree. The command's the command.
Yeah. And so I think you got to have that foundation. You know what I mean? When we talked to the Jared Moss and Ross and all those guys, on the bird dog side, they always talk about wanting to be able to fall back on their foundations. So if they go to the next step, 2, step 3. Us hound guys, we don't do that shit.
There's step 1.
Well,
and there's everything that happens.
Exactly. It's just,
because there was no 2 or 3.
Right. But I think we're doing those. A good trainer is naturally doing those things for the dog. And so the dog's falling back on that, come here. Yeah, I don't think they associate, oh, this means leave the tree. I don't think that's what that means to them. I don't think it means, if they were treeing, that I just don't see that meaning, oh, leave the tree.
There's a disconnect.
I see that as you come here, that we're going this way. We're leaving, and then you do it enough times. And I think they just learn, okay, like just walk through.
Yeah. It doesn't mean we're not going to ever be back here again.
Yeah.
We're just leaving this time.
Yeah, exactly. We go catch the next one.
Well, and like those dogs that you guys tone off of trees, have you ever had one leave one? I mean, it's not like they don't stick, whether it's 5 minutes or a half hour or whatever. I mean,
6 hours, 7 hours, however long, they've never had one leave one because of that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a game changer.
And really, I'm almost positive. I would nearly probably guarantee that there's been times where, when you're fumbling around walking into a tree and you got your alpha and the keys aren't locked or whatever, I'd almost guarantee there's been times where I've toned a dog when I wasn't there on my way to a tree and still not had a dog necessarily leave the tree.
Man, did we bitched about Garmin today?
Not on this episode.
Because I know for a fact I've done that.
Yeah. I set my GPSs to 1 because I'm worried. I don't know. I wish they had like a lockout. And I guess you could lock the buttons out. They do have that. Yeah. But it's always a pain in the ass, isn't it?
Because then you go to look at your screen and you got to go through like 2 steps to look at it.
Yeah, but that new shock system that came out, the SE, I think, is it the Delta SE? What is that? What it's called? I don't. I took a look at one. I had my sister-in-law needed a system for her. It's a pet. It's more of a pet kind of system. I don't recommend it for hunting, but it has a slide lock on the side of it. I'm like, that's awesome, where you can lock the. I wish the Alpha had that, where you just slide it down and slide it up, so you could unlock your buttons and lock your buttons.
That would be extremely handy.
Yeah, not
that like the new holster, like the Kydex holster that you guys are selling is extremely helpful, because then the keys and everything are covered. You're not accidentally pushing anything. But if it's just flopping around willy-nilly on the side of your pack or in your pocket or wherever, I know I'm sure that I've toned dogs that were on a tree and I wasn't there yet, and it didn't stop anything.
Well, mine would probably quit treeing if I toned them too much. I think I could call them off a tree with that tone. That tone is a pretty strong.
Yeah, and if you toned them too much, mine would definitely leave too. But bumping that button
once or twice, they're going to stop, and then they probably
they're going to look around and see where am I supposed to be right now.
Yeah, I'd have to be pretty deliberate on my tone. I can tell you
over and over.
Yeah,
and over,
and then hopefully I'd be in a spot where I could call and yell at them and they'd hear me.
Right,
that tone would get them to shut up, and then when they hear me yelling, they would come. But I don't know. But that tone, I try not to. I try. The tone is more powerful than a 1 level stem. So I'm always like, if I'm going to do anything, I want a 1, because most of my dogs don't respond to the 1.
Right.
So I wish Garmin had a 0. That's what my complaint was.
That would be really great if they had a 0. That'd be handy. A 0 and a fry all.
That's the one everybody wants. The big.
I want a 0 and I want a fry all, like detonate.
Detonate.
Oh no! I think they need to put a volume on the tone. I get that question a lot. Like, so you can adjust the tone volume up and down? It's like, no, but that's a great idea. I wish you could. Yeah,
there's a bunch of things I'd like. The other one I'd like is we just turn this into a wishing We can wish in one hand and shit in the other. Let's see which one fills up.
Which one Garmin gives
Garmin
you?
wish list.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the bark indicator, I wish there was a way to slide that, sensitive, less sensitive. You know what I mean? You got chop mouth versus ball mouth, and sometimes dogs just pin that thing, and you're like, yeah, that dog just barked. No, he's just cold. Wow, look at the bark indicator on. Yeah, it's just cold trailing.
Yeah, he barked twice in the last 30 seconds, and it's reckoned in 120.
Or like a dog like Shy, that's not loud, just probably buries that thing every single time with one bark.
Yeah, because it's just a ball. It's just a long drawn out, so it makes it think it's barking a lot. And I'm like, no, that's a pretty cold track right there. And so yeah, but those are little things we could wish for.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
The fry all, though, I've heard that one a lot. You're not the only one, James.
No, yeah, that would be great. Because when you're in the mode of fry all, like when you're standing there and
you can't read.
You can't scroll through everything near fast enough to get your message across of what the fry all really means. You're seeing red.
My screen's just blurry. I mean, I just the resolution is really crappy.
Out.
Exactly. I'm like, I can't see what that is, but just gonna push buttons.
Well, that's why the 200 is so, I will say this about the 200. I mean, there's lots of things I like better about it, but the fact you can use those side buttons to cycle through your training.
Oh, yeah. I do have at the end of my training page, it's like tones and ones, and then I do jump up to where I got 3 dogs per page.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 14.
Because you can scroll through them.
So that way, when you get to that point, it's we're going to that page.
My problem, James, is I pass that page. I'm like, oh shit, I went past it. I got to back up. And you're like forward, backwards. You're hitting it 3 or 4 times at a time. So you're skipping.
But it beats the heck out of sitting there and hitting it and oh, well, the first dog I shocked is now barking 60 barks a minute. Let me touch my screen again to clear that so I can fry the next one.
Oh.
It's like you want to add to frustration level. Those messages are not helping.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, they've gotten better, though.
Way better.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
But no, back to the toner off a tree. I've never personally seen that ruin a dog. And maybe there's somebody that can tell me otherwise, but I've never had that problem. No, but I like you guys say, I do think you have to have that connection and that handle with the dog. I mean, before you can do that, because otherwise it probably would lead to a mess. I could see that for sure.
Yeah. If it confused the dog, I think it'd be really rough. And I think it's easier when you have a pack of dogs, especially older dogs that know what they're doing. I think that helps. I think tremendously that maybe we don't recognize that if you just had a brand new dog and you're trying to do it, that could be difficult for a guy with one dog versus a guy that has 4 or 5 dogs and they all get hunted quite a bit. Yeah. They're really well trained.
What about on trail though? I mean, as far as calling dogs off and hauling them out, because I know, Buddy, you had talked before about, it comes down to how much are you willing to put in as the hunter too? Are you going to help them sort out those tough ones? Are you going to make them be sticky? Or are you going to call them off and go find something else? Do you feel like toning them off a track would be any different?
Yeah. My dogs don't respond well to toning on a track. So I have a dog that is like our last podcast we talked about was a mouthy. You know how much mouth?
Yeah.
I got Shelby, which drives me nuts. She wants to bark into a track. You know what I mean? If she, or if a dog cranks up, she'll watch body language and she gets really excited and a lot of guys would not handle that at all. And that's something that it drives me nuts, but I don't know. There's times where I'll vibrate, I'll try to tone, I'll try to shock, and I have to be very careful that I don't shut her down. You know what I mean? Because she'll come back to the truck and think it's trash, or you know what I mean? It's just I have a difficult time using tone vibrate, or stim for her to get the message that I want her to shut the hell up. That's basically what you know what I mean? Like, she's like, oh, come here. You know what I mean? Like,
you're doing good. Just do it quieter.
Exactly. Just shut up and go. I don't care. You know what I mean? But barking as you run to the other dog is not acceptable to me. But at the same time, I haven't been able to fix it. I mean, it's just, and she's old enough that I may never fix it. I don't know if it's just a trait of her.
You know, kind of like we talked about on that last podcast too. I think there's some of that you just you get what you get, and you're not going to take a lot of that out of them. That's just genetically the way it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that drives me absolutely crazy too. And I have, like Pearl, for example, if she's cutting 2 other dogs, she'll make noise the entire way there, and it's just enough to make you. I mean, she gets there and she does her job and she does it well, but the blabbering on the way to get there, hey guys, I'm on my way.
Is
just drives me nuts.
And there, I mean, I absolutely guys are like, oh, I don't tolerate that. You know, I mean, whatever. And maybe they'd get rid of them. I don't know what they would do. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that if it drove me crazy that I didn't enjoy the dog, like if that was, let me just use Andy. Andy's not my favorite dog. She grows on me sometimes. Sometimes I like her a lot, but if she did that, I would probably be more apt to be like, down the road. You know what I mean? Like I tolerate more out of a dog I like than I'm like, you know what? This annoys the piss out of me. I mean, like you said, drives you bananas. And I can see all the reasons why guys would be like, that's going to screw things up and whatever. And absolutely. If you had a different pack of dogs, like my dogs ignore that shit. You know what I mean? Like rarely do my dogs come out and come to Shelby yipping into it. In my head, every one of my dogs that are trailing are going to turn around and come out to Shelby. That's what in my head, you know, and I guess in my early experiences as a young houndsman that's exactly what happened. All the dogs went to Shelby.
That's what happened.
With experienced dogs, they ignore her. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It doesn't mean it's right. I'm not saying it's, I'm not trying to justify why everybody should have a dog that yaps all the way.
That babbles all the way to the pack.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I'm going to tell you, but I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is I can't afford to lose that dog because I don't want to. There's a bunch of decisions in that. And she shines other times. And I'm like, I've tried to tone her, I've tried to vibrate, I've tried to shock, I've tried different things. And sometimes I can get her to start quieting down. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like I can gently shock her and I'll watch her quiet down a little bit, but I still cannot get her through her thick head that we just don't do that. If you would just like bolt like a silent lightning to the front of the pack and then open up, I'd be like, oh, perfect. You are absolutely perfect. And I'd be like, that'd be the best thing ever, but it's just not the way it goes with me.
What about, like, if you guys make a lose, though, do they listen to her then if they don't have the track?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So they're making a conscious, like, they know we've got it. We're not going to listen to her now. But if we don't have it. Yeah.
Like, and like James said, in the beginning, man, that it screwed up a lot of races. I mean, you screwed up a lot. And so I can, hands down, I get why people say they can't have that. That can't be tolerated, blah, 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 blah. Absolutely right. I could drop Shelby in the wrong group with some inexperienced dogs and blow things up 100%. And luckily I don't hunt with many people. And if they do get pissed, it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go hunt over here. You go hunt over there.
A celebrity. I'll find someone. No,
I'll go find somebody else to hunt with.
Well, and I think part of it too is I used to get really, really mad at the dog that did that and then would turn everything around. And at the same time, it's like, you got to be just as pissed at the dogs that turned around and left what they were doing to come down here when they knew it wasn't right. And so it's like, and if, like I said, the dog that I have that does it, when she gets there, it's not just a me too, I'm here to bark. I mean, she's grinding her ass off and really putting in the work. And And maybe I'd feel differently about it if it was I'm going to bark the entire way till I get to you guys, and then I'm not going to do anything once I get there.
Wait for me.
Like at that point, yeah, I'd have a major problem with it. But you got to kind of look at if the other dogs are leaving, there's fault.
Exactly.
Everyone's at fault.
I think you make
situation.
a really, really valid point that is, and I think John Belozer kind of said it best. He's like, if my A-list dogs are looking at my C-list dogs for advice, then I need some better A-list dogs. You know what I mean? Like, those dogs in front should know better. If they're running working a track, they shouldn't be listening for people behind. You know what I mean? So again, not without sounding to, piss somebody off or whatever, like, because everybody has their own opinions on it. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not trying to say why everybody should have a dog like this, because it is the most frustrating thing in the god.
Yeah, go get you one. It's great.
I wish I could give you mine, but I kind of like her. I'm partial to her, but yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Is what I found is the dogs don't pay no attention to her. Like, it drives me more nuts than it. Maybe it drives them nuts and they just don't say anything, but it drives me more nuts than it seems to drive to blow the other dogs up.
That's why we leave you at home. We go home without you.
But as far as bringing dogs, if the question was like bringing dogs back, turning them around because you have to leave or whatever, toning a dog off a track back to the road, it's something everybody hates to do, but there's times we have to do it leading into wolves, leading dogs are trailing into wolves, and you can't be in there, whatever it is. There's times where you have to do that.
Yeah.
And, everyone stands there and looks at each other like, who's going to push the button first?
Right.
Who's going to stop this? And I've never really had that. I can't say that I've seen that put a negative impact on a dog.
They're going to start the next one.
As long as, if you did that and then you went 8 months without ever putting a dog on a track again, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had that situation. But if you're putting the miles on them and those dogs are working, I don't see that really. It's not something I like to do. It's not something that I do all the time, but it's something that is when you need to use it and you need to turn those dogs around.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to do it for sure.
And you shouldn't be doing that the first time and expecting a perfect turnaround. Meaning if you don't ever do that and then something bad happens and you tone, vibrate, shock dogs on a track and expect them to just come out clean,
know what to do.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience, it don't work like that. It's like a grenade goes off, and now you got. Let's just take wolves for example. Now you got dogs scattered in wolf country in a bad situation. You know what I mean? Like what you want to do is, if you're going to have that type of control on a dog, you need to do it enough that they know what they're doing. So my dogs pretty much come back on the backtrack. I just know that's for the most part.
And that's another thing we can get into that drives me nuts, because mine will come back on the backtrack, whether you could be 100 yards off the road. For dead certain that dog hears you screaming and yelling and honking the horn, and that backtrack comes out 6 miles the other direction, and that dog will come by at 100 yards and stick to the exact same way she went into that race.
Oh, dude, I'd lose my mind.
I hear you up there, Dad, but I got to go the 6 mile route. I don't know what it is. There's no shortcuts in this shit.
And that just pisses me off, like to no end.
I'd lose it, man.
Because it just eats, there is just time consuming as all hell. And not only that, like, you're putting more miles on those dogs than necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually you got to use them the next day.
And they're used up.
Oh, I had that same thing. I mean, that happened like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I had to, it trailed out. And we just weren't going to catch it. And it was, whatever. So the same thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, they went right through this section right here, 60 yards off the road. I'll be able to cut them off right there. But I was hauling ass to that point, right? I'm like, I got to get there quick because
they get 75 away. We're talking another story.
Them bitches went right past. I'm like yelling. I'm like, come on, dogs. And they just right past me, just right down the backtrack. Like, no, we crossed the road down here. It was about another mile down where they crossed the road. I'm like, you little bitches.
I will light you
yeah,
up.
it never fails that it's like a short deal. I mean, it's always like a really long ways around. Well, like when you and I were up there, Bobcat, and we turned them around that night, and they got within 40 yards or road or so, and Pearl just kept right on going. Like, nope, I'm going to go clear up over the top of this ridge, and I will see you guys on the other side.
You guys are so much more patient than I am. If you can hear me, see. And I just talked about this with Bear the other night, like the commands. I said, it's stupid, but I teach my dogs up and down. Like when we go up the stairs at our place, up is down. And when I'm calling you out of the woods, I'm calling you get up here or get down here. It might sound stupid, but I'll tell you what, I got a dog going 6 miles on a backtrack and it can hear me. We are having some words. You're going to be electrified making that trip. Oh,
well, I haven't gotten that good yet, Jason.
You should work on it. Man.
So, and my problem is if say they're 60 yards off the road and they're not coming, and then you do start frying them, sometimes they'll turn around and they'll go right back to where they were working that track. And it's like, okay, we screwed up. We're going back to where we were at.
Right.
I thought I got the come out command. You were telling me don't give up command. So I'm going to go back and work on the cat.
Yeah, right. Well, even going down the road, like that's my cool trick. I love that. Like you get a dog that hits the road and it's running the wrong way. Boom, tone button. And they know enough. They're like, oh, that's a recall. I'm going the wrong way. I don't know where you're at.
They go faster.
James,
they go faster the wrong way on the road.
Oh, exactly. You're kidding.
Oh, no. Like balls out running. And you're like, well.
As fast as they can go the opposite way.
Oh, yeah. See, this is why we all don't hunt together. I see why you two stick together.
No, I mean, for whatever reason, I mean, you're like, well, I guess we got to go with this. Like 60 miles an hour trying to catch up with the dog.
Oh, I get it. I've been there.
If it's on a road that, if it's on a road that we've been on and they can smell that they've been there.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll stop and they'll turn around. But like say they come out on a road that they haven't hit and they're going the wrong way. And then you start toning or frying into them and it's like, oh, well, shit. I'm
coming.
I'm not turning around. I'm coming. I'm on my way. Yeah, just everything
in their mind that's the direction I gotta go when they hit that road. And I mean, I whenever you said that, I'm like, oh no, that's not how it works for me.
I've had it go that route a lot, and it frustrated me so bad. Heck, the other night we had one dog hit the road and went down and made the intersection. I hate intersections because we've all been in that moment where it's like, okay. Say when, which way you going? You're either going to go the right way or the wrong way. And she hit that intersection and just stopped and sat there. And I'm like, good for you. Good dog. I didn't teach that, but I'm pretty proud of that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty versatile stuff, man. It's funny because I don't know. I kind of figured we're a little on different pages on some of that. Like I didn't even think of it.
It's all different. I think it, it comes down to the basics. And so for me, it's to come out, and I don't know why, but I'm with James. Like they want to go the backtrack. They don't care. Normally I don't see them cross a road. If they come out to the road, normally they'll stay on the road, I think. But I've had dogs that will actually cross roads to keep going on the backtrack. I'm like, we're literally going to pick you up where we started. And I don't know if that's an old homing, you know what I mean? Some of the old dogs, that's what they just
That's
did.
how it used to be, right? That's how you got them back.
So I don't know if that's some of that coming out on it, but there's times where I'm like, dude, I got to get to that crossing before.
Otherwise we got 4 more miles to go. Because you're not bringing that dog back this way. And I mean,
it just goes faster. You try and do anything more. It's like,
right.
All we're doing is going to increase the speed, and that decreases the hunt they're going to have tomorrow because we're going to wear them out trying to get back out of here.
That is funny. I would have never thought that. Obviously I haven't hunted a whole lot with either one of you. But like, I know your dogs like are around all the time, buddy. Like I would have figured that they would just come out like as soon as you call them, like they're beelining to get to you because you do spend a ton of time with your dogs. I never would have thought that. No, I'm not knocking it. Don't take that wrong. Like I'm not saying I'm right. You're wrong.
For the most part, they will all turn around and come out the backtrack and I don't.
Cool.
And I don't mind that. You know what I mean? Because I've had them where they just blow up, and then you got dogs going. I mean, I've had
where they're going
everywhere. And there is times where it bothers me, but overall, I really don't mind that either because I know where I'm going to find.
No, that's just it. Especially on a road, like you guys hunt a ton where there's a lot of logging, like active logging operations. Mm-hmm. So when you're driving along and it's like, okay, this dog can pop out anywhere, it's a little more sketchy where you can get there ahead of time. Because I mean, that's how mine used to
and know where they're going to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice because, the alternative is like a little firework, like you got a little on the GPS, it just looks like a little trail. And then all of a sudden it goes, boom.
Yep.
It's like dogs going everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's not a good feeling. And so that's the part you want to avoid is having dogs not know what to do and just scattering. And I want to be being scared or whatever.
Right.
Because then you tone a dog and like James said, they just go faster. They're going the wrong way. And you just tone them again. It's like they just increase the speed. You know what I mean? It's like they're going away from you into a roadless area and you tone them and they're like, well, I'm just going to increase the speed, and then it gets worse. So it's like, you just got to be careful. But I liken it to like, I want to say I'm like some guru, but it's nice and comforting for me to know most of the time what they're going to do. So I'm like, okay, I can tone them out of here. I don't have to be aggressive. I'm not like being super aggressive. It's like I get them stopped. I get them heading the wrong direction. Then I chill out and just let them work their way out.
Sure.
And I really like it too because you don't have to yell so much.
Yeah.
Like the days of not having a voice because you're just sitting there on top of a ridge screaming and yelling and trying to pull dogs
honking.
out. It's firing guns off and shit, trying to even come back up the hill. Like, hey, I'm up over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not to say the way that I would expect mine to act now, it will blow up on you. I mean, like situations I would say common is you get a dog down in an area that if you yell for it, it doesn't know what direction it is. The way the mountains lay and things like that, you get a bad echo or a bounce, or you're still hiking 100 yards to get to a ridge line where the dog will actually be able to pinpoint, or like you said, they just scatter. And we've spent a lot of time picking up dogs that if they just would have backtracked out like the dogs I used to have too. I mean, you'd pick them up 50 feet from where you dropped them off if it was a long ways,
Yeah.
So it's cool to have. At least we didn't all agree on everything today. Like, or at least we have different styles.
Yeah. My dog.
And somehow, just by sheer dumb luck, me and Buddy's styles happen to be our dogs do the same shit. So we can.
Hey, that's why we have the hunting partners we have, right? Or we probably wouldn't have them real long.
Yeah, we can both pretty much just know what's going to happen. And it's like, well.
So when the sled breaks down, you got to hoof it 6 miles to point A and you'll get your dogs back.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're like, well, this is going to be a bad deal. I better start heading that direction now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they, again, they hit a road. They do. It's just, it doesn't matter what. It just seems like you just learn the hard way. That's the way I learned. Hard knocks.
So do they stop? I got one more question. I know we're trying to keep this one short, but do yours stop when they get back like a true homing? Like they know that was the end of the track and they sit there? Like the old leaving your shirt out and having them come and sit on it?
Within a pretty close, yeah. I mean, they might wander around there a little bit or go check off over here. But I mean, they're close enough that when I pull up, they're all there.
Yeah,
that's cool.
There, or they're following the truck. They'll kind of, for whatever reason, they kind of know what direction I went, so they may be trotting down.
That will blow your mind.
Then it's okay for them to come find me. I mean, it's like we get on the road and then they trail my truck or whatever. But yeah, they'll most of the time they go in the right direction. They're coming after me. So whichever way I went. So if I went and did a circle, I'd come in behind them. Then normally I come up behind them. If I go back the same way I did, then normally they're coming right at me.
And they know. I mean, I saw that firsthand when we were hunting California.
I don't know. What I really want to know, Jason, is do they really know that they crossed 60 yards from me? Like that's what I really want to know. Is like,
I would hope they would, but I don't know.
They play a pretty good poker face. I'm like, did you freaking hear me?
I didn't hear anything.
They just, it's like they cannot hear anything when they're in that mode to come back where they started. And I don't know.
Seeing red, man.
I don't know.
But they will. It's crazy. Like dogs at home, and I know I've talked about it a ton in the past, is like, are we taking that out of the dogs? We're not selectively breeding for homing ability, I would say a lot, at least the majority of people. But
no, there's no one that even thinks about that anymore.
Because it's like we've got the Garmin. We know where they're at. It's no big deal. But, I think back to Dale.
But do you think they were breeding for homing, or do you think just the dogs that didn't home just never got bred?
Never made it back.
They got lost.
No, I think they got lost, and it was survival of the fittest. The dogs that knew how to get back and get found were found.
So the truth is, we're just finding a bunch more shitty dogs. We're making back a bunch of.
Don't even get me started. If you want a real podcast,
so it's not like we're breeding better dogs. We're just keeping the shitty dogs around. Other dogs that wouldn't have made it.
I don't want to come out and say that, but yeah, I believe there's a heck of a lot of dogs out there that got no business being bred. It's I don't know. It's different now for sure.
I will agree with that.
I mean, we had a dog that came. It was ridiculous. It was like 12 miles by road, by line of sight. It was way less, but we were camped out in the same place every year, when we went bear hunting, and that dog Dale of mine got bluffed out with those wolves under him. And I ended up coming back to camp the next week, and that dog had found his way all the way back to camp and just was sitting there waiting. One of our customers and friends had him tied up. He's like, "Doobie, you owe me." Okay, great. Because I'm going down thinking my dogs, I haven't seen him in 4 days,
Right.
And I went through a snowstorm, and I'm like just thinking I'm going to have to go on a collar recon mission here. Never have I been happier at that dog who did his fair share of pissing me off, I guarantee you, over the years. But I'm like, you're smart enough to find your way back to camp through all these intersections and through this terrain and then just sit here and wait. Why am I putting up with all the other crap that you do? You're smarter than you let on.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. What I mean? That makes me just wonder how much is selective. I mean? Like I think it was Clay had a podcast on the dog and the evolution of like wolves to dogs or whatever. And the fact that it makes you just think, is the dog getting tame because those are the dogs that people liked? I guess a good example was like, it was like the roundness of their eyes or something. I think it was it was like dogs' eyes were getting rounder and rounder and bigger. And so the question was, are we selecting the dogs for bigger eyes, or are we just naturally the dogs with bigger eyes we naturally like, and so they come in closer. To. Yeah, so it's like, man, it's a question of, are the dogs getting bigger eyes because they learn they can get a steak out of us, because they're cute or whatever. And it kind of comes down to the same thing on this homing deal: is are we don't breed for that, but did we ever breed for that, or was it just something that the dogs who had homing were bred, the dogs that didn't have homing?
They found their way back to their buddy that was, didn't notice they were in heat and got turned loose. And they're like, hey, now we got some time to sit around.
Yeah. Well, they just never made it back. You just lost those dogs.
The eye thing is funny, though. Like, I see what you're saying, but it is funny to me because if you go back and you read a bunch of standards, like the blue tick standard or, any of these show standards, they directly address that.
Really?
It should have a pleading expression, and it refers to like the expression on the dog even. So I just find it kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. It'll be interesting to see what the last 10, 15 years does, because so much has changed in the tracking of our dogs. So the safety of the dog and what dogs come back with us, because we found them and were able to find them with Garmin products. And then, yeah, maybe those dogs, I don't know, shouldn't say that, but maybe some of those dogs shouldn't have been found.
Shouldn't breed. That's the nicer way to put it.
There you go. You need to fix them.
Yeah.
So
no, that's pretty cool. That was a good one.
And then dogs that run 1,000,000 miles an hour in the beep beep days, that was dangerous. I mean, it was just like,
oh yeah,
that's how I bet you that's how a lot of dogs, you know what I mean? Dogs that take off the wrong way
and just never made it back.
Yeah, just kept running into town. I mean, hopefully into town, but you know, things like that, those little tiny things that we can see now, we know exactly what they were doing. But before GPS,
you were guessing.
You're guessing.
I don't care what you say. You were guessing.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, how did that dog get 6 miles away? A dog can cover a lot. I'm going to tell you right now, a dog can cover a lot of ground on a road, like a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you make him play catch up. That's why Buddy's dogs run faster. They're like, crap, we got to catch the truck.
He's leaving, that asshole.
Yeah.
Oh. Right on. Well, I think we beat that topic to death.
Yeah, and opened up a can of worms for like another 2 podcasts.
Yeah, we just keep coming up with some good topics. So, all right. Anything further?
I think that pretty much covers it.
I think so.
I'm just going to schedule with James while you're gone, and we'll have some good talk about you.
Talk about me while I'm gone.
Hunting with Buddy.
101. What to expect. I'll leave the part out where you ran my dog over.
Yeah, you keep bringing that up.
I brought it up twice in 6 years. I got to pull it out every once in a while. That's the ace in the hole. She survived. She was fine. Nobody freak out. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it making time. And those were some good conversations.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll have to do it again soon.
Heck yeah.